What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Powerstroke Tech Talk podcast. This is number 25. We have returning guests, Mr. Matt DS, reeling up the top, and newcomer Gordon. Welcome, my friend, down at the bottom. For all those of you that are not able to watch us on YouTube, make sure to check us out on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, TuneIn, and Podbean. Welcome. Tonight, we're going to talk about some products here. We are sponsored here on the podcast by Hot Shots. I am their brand ambassador. We're going to be going over some of the great chemicals they have for our power strokes and adding it to our fuels and our oils. And mention the promo code PTT so you guys can save some of them greenbacks. So without further ado, Gordon, welcome to the channel. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome. We're excited to have you. Just tell us a little bit about yourself. What you drive? I think I just worked on one of your super duties here not too long ago. So,
Yeah, my name is Gordon, which you already covered. Originally from Africa. Grew up born in Zimbabwe, that's Southern Africa, right at the bottom, just above South Africa. Um, Came over to the US when I was 19, it was about 20 years ago. Settled here in Michigan, basically spun the globe, put my finger on it, and said, that's where I'm going. And I wound up in Michigan.
wow,
It was 100%, 180-degree turn from the weather I grew up with to what I landed in. But basically, yeah, man, been trying to get on my feet since and make my way, and went through school, the whole nine. And just said about building a new life.
that's awesome, man.
My way out this way. So yeah, it's been quite the journey, quite the ride.
Tell me a little bit about your sweet truck that I was able to your 2020 that I was
Ooh.
that I was able to work on. You had me do a little add-on mod to it, I guess. OE.
Like any guy, I think whenever we pick up, any toy, trucks in particular, you start wanting to change a few things. And one of the things that I had you do on the truck was block heater, which is probably the biggest thing that we tackled that day. And we also did a aftermarket latch for the back seat to be able to drop the back seat, because stock
I
from the
like
fence,
that.
you got to reach in behind, and it's a little bit of an awkward grab to drop that rear seat.
I like that.
So, and that's one of the things you covered in one of your videos. So we did that, and we did a little bit of went under the hood and went into the computer a little bit and played with some settings. And we changed a few things. I think we brightened up the C lamps, and we also did something that was actually pretty interesting. A lot of times when we go in and we adjust some of those settings, for those of us who are curious, we end up losing the ambient lighting in the trucks. And so you had figured out a trick to actually go back in, be able to adjust our settings and do things that, whatever we wanted to tweak, but then go back in and actually bring that back. So that was kind of cool. You helped me with that. So
I'm
yeah.
excited to get a video about that. What Gordon's talking about, everybody, is Forescan, and you guys remember us talking about it before on the podcast about using Forescan and its alternate tool to myself, other than using IDS and FDRS. I'm really starting to get the hang of it, and I really like how you can really get in, like Gordon was saying, and change, your C rings or change the audible chimes or the lighting. And then in the case that I've been doing a lot lately is adding the temperature numbers in, I'm sorry, over the coolant gauge, which I don't know why that is not turned on from the factory, along with the OCR and maybe a couple of other things. But I mean, for DS's use, my use, Gordon, I think having that number really helps the operator know really how warm your vehicle is. What's this little hash mark that's blue? Well, what is it? Is it half warmed up? Well, what's half warmed up? Well, now
It's
you
just
know
it,
it's 160 degrees.
It's interesting that it has the capability to do that and just not turned on from the factory.
I know.
I appreciate that it's not, because then I get phone calls of like, well, I've been running my truck for this amount of time and it is only 192 degrees when I think it should be this. And it's like, dude, just your truck's fine.
That's probably me that called you then, right?
No. That's why I don't get my phone number out. Yeah, no. Break down a fake one real quick.
Talk to me after the podcast. So.
It's just fun to see. Like you plug in the block heater, you turn on the car in the morning or truck in the morning. It's like -2 degrees outside, and you can see exactly how effective your block heater is, and little stuff like that. It's not a big deal, but
it's like a little Easter egg, you could say. I did a block heater install today. That was kind of usually only have to do those from swapping an engine, but
to help everybody paint the picture, what color is your truck?
Matt or myself?
Gordon.
Oh, we know what mine is.
The Ford Platinum Silver.
Ooh.
So it's a nice looking
iconic
truck.
silver, yeah.
The iconic silver.
Oh yeah. What are you using it for? Are you using it just for personal? Are you using it to haul any goods, or?
Mostly hauling trailers. So we have a lot of equipment. I think DS can probably appreciate this, just in the line of work. So we have a couple of trailers and we load all our gear, all our equipment. So ladders, machinery, you name it. In our trailers, we move to the job site. We drop a trailer there. We work out of the trailer while we're on site, load everything up, move on to the next site. So we do a lot of like commercial, residential remodeling. So
heck yeah.
So a lot of things to pull.
Heck yeah, that's what they're obviously made for. And tonight is the video that I released of the Million Mile 6.7, and this owner was telling me the whole life of his vehicle since he got it at 90-ish thousand miles, it has constantly been towing 9,000 to 14,000 pounds every day. So I mean, that's what these trucks are built for. That's what they're made for. It's especially if you take care of it. He's the testament to that, without a doubt. Is change the oil. I get so bombarded with silly comments and queries about oil changes and doing all. It is so frivolous. Just change the oil.
You told me something about that.
Just change the oil.
Well, you told me another
understand.
story though. You told me another story. That's interesting.
We're not coming up with like 5,000 mile interval just because we want to do oil changes all the time and make the store money. It's like,
just change the oil.
I literally see what happens when you don't change your oil when you should, and it's usually to the tune of about $18,000. So I would just change it like every 5,000 miles.
How about this?
It's really nice.
How long will an engine last if it rolls out of the factory and you never change the oil? How long do you think you'll get down the road?
Usually 30,000 miles and they kill themselves.
You're wrong. Guess what we got today?
Wait, you never change the oil and it kills itself?
2018 Platinum 450.
Don't tell me this thing still had the FOMO co-filter on it.
60,000 miles.
Maybe they just kept topping it off.
Done.
Yeah, that was my theory, because you keep topping it off and you're adding a little bit of fresh life to the oil, just a tiny bit.
Well, not even like fresh life. Like you're
adding the oil. Where is it going? What do you think that DPF looks like? Come on.
Wait, you just said it was a 2018 Platinum?
Yeah.
Man,
it's like $100,000, man.
Well,
No.
okay. Well, in 18, that was a couple years ago, so it might have been like
95,000.
85.
You must just really not care.
There it is.
So wait, so that.
Wait, hold on. Was this owned by a very large rental company?
No.
Well,
that's interesting, because usually they're the ones that kill them.
How was the rest of the truck? Was it like nice, or was it beat up, like the interior and everything? Was it all scratched up, or was it? I can't see it. I mean, I can't see that.
Yikes.
Poison. It was just like yours, dude, except Platinum.
Was it clean? Was it taken care of on the inside? It was all nasty. Okay.
Man, you must have money to burn if you can do that.
That's the dichotomy. What were you saying, Gordon?
I was saying, I'm curious what made him actually come in finally to see you guys. If
his engine was gone.
all that time.
Yeah, she's cranking a little slow today. Can you see if the batteries are bad? No, dude, your bearings are bad.
The problem is you'll never see a really clean vehicle like that was taken care of, and the engine blew, and there's an opportunity for you to just like do just the engine. Everything else around it is also going to be ruined.
Yeah, and I always like the comments you get from either Mopar diehards or GM diehards or whatever. Like Ford has so many recalls, blah blah blah, this, that, and the other. It's like, well, Ford doesn't wait until the government steps in and's like, hey, you guys need to do a recall. They're usually voluntary manufacturer recalls.
Well, recalls are just like safety. The thing is the TSVs, which they don't even really tell you about the TSVs, but
most of the stuff comes out as recalls. Ford usually stays on top of that stuff pretty good.
What about you, Gordon? Where are you at with miles so far? How many miles you got?
Especially for a diesel, she's a baby, so barely over 10,000 miles.
Oh, for a 2020, that's not bad.
It's nothing. So,
I'm creeping up on 10,000. And I'm gonna be starting to run. I know DS wants to get a hold of this, some of this too. This is their Diesel Extreme injector cleaner from Hot Shots. Haven't opened it yet. I definitely want to try it. I know a lot of people have been reaching out over social media and telling me what they're using. A lot of the guys like this were commenting just for the fact that they can easily measure it out and there's no,
That's
guessing.
Exactly why I like that.
Did I get enough in? Did I get enough in? Is this?
Yeah,
is it?
I like that. I have to
no
say,
questions.
I like that.
I mean,
and you can actually see it's got a little measure.
When you go to pour that into the gas.
Oh, it's got the little self-measuring one.
Yeah.
Chamber. Yeah.
Okay.
So okay,
like fuel
is that gonna be hard to pour in there? Because like when you look at the Ford one, it's got that long neck on it.
I mean, I don't know.
It should fit, right? It should be.
We'll see.
I mean, when I put additives into my tank, I just dump the whole bottle in.
So now this might be a good thing to talk about, or at least let Hot Shots know. Maybe they need a different redesign of this bottle to make it more taller and slender, just like DS was saying.
Yeah, I don't know. It might be, maybe not. Maybe it's fine. I don't know.
We'll find out. But I can see, because this would hit your DEF cap if you're sticking that down in there. So I don't know. We're gonna find out. This is their everyday thing.
Maybe if there's an issue, which we don't know if it's an issue yet, but if it's an issue, maybe there's something you can like screw on the top of it to make it longer, and then you pour it, and then I don't know. Seems kind of messy still. But.
We got some giveaways going to be coming soon too, so we're gonna figure out how we're gonna do that, whether it be through the comments or something. There's a little package that I'm gonna let everybody know that we're gonna pick somebody.
I got an idea.
Huh? What?
Do you have merch? What? Are you selling merch?
Yeah, we got shirts.
You got something like these?
Oh, look, he's got them. You
got something like these?
Oh, he's got some stickers. Check the shirt out.
Or do you have
some
these?
threads? He's got it. Check that out.
I have to say, I have the stickers. I don't.
Oh,
I don't even have a shirt.
What is this? All right, Aaron. If people want to get merch, how are they getting it?
Pretty much email me.
I'm just
Instagram,
I'm
Facebook
cool enough that I get it.
That's the meat man, Matt.
I mean, dang, I got one sticker. I got one sticker. You got him with a whole stack of stickers.
Shoot.
Yeah, well, it's obvious who he likes better.
I got like a sticker that was peeled off the cabinet or something.
Shoot.
Ouch.
You see what I got to deal with, Gordon?
What?
Tough crowd, man.
Yeah, it's a chirp fest.
Tough crowd. Yeah. Any way you guys get a hold of me, any social media platform, I can facilitate that needed want for some shirts. There's some Gildan shirts. They're not any cheap boys. I'm a t-shirt guy, shirt. So I wanted something that's gonna be nice.
I think the new black one looks real good, and it's something you can definitely wear out in public and not look silly.
This one's actually my pajamas. I'm in my
My
jammies.
pajamas, he says. All right. Ever since you said that you came here at the ripe age of 19, Gordon, I got to know, what was your first car?
You'll be happy to know. It was Ford. Do you remember the old Ford Probes?
Oh my.
It was purple.
Come on.
Purple Probe.
Oh man. Hey, I had a purple Mustang, so don't feel bad.
We had
like
some
it.
adventures. So I lost the parking brake on it. So when I park in the parking structure at work, it would roll.
Oh.
I got a call in the office. I was an intern at the time, and I had to go back out to the parking garage because my car had rolled into like the driveway, so like no one could pass. You know, at that point, the parking structure. And it was actually the first vehicle I ever spun out in the snow. You know, just kind of learning how to drive in the snow. That's obviously a big adjustment. Right?
Learning how to drive in the snow.
Dude,
You're like,
that's
what the hell is this?
That's everyone in Michigan on the first snow.
Oh,
Though.
wow.
Everyone completely forgets.
Me on I-75 coming south towards like Great Lakes Crossing, spun out, wound up on the side of the street. And,
Oh man.
yeah. First experience off the road.
Tell me, I remember you telling me a story when I saw you up at the shop about Explorers.
All right, that's a good one.
Oh no, you didn't have an exploder with
No,
Firestone.
no. It was just it opened up my whole eyes to the way I look at Explorers now. So
It's better than that. So, you know, for us back home, American vehicles, you know, it was an exotic thing, you know. So I remember growing up distinctly, and there was a guy who had a Ford Explorer, right? And this was such a big deal because it was a Ford Explorer, you know. You knew the guy's name because he had a Ford Explorer. We're talking $4 million, you know, to get a Ford Explorer, local currency, of course. But again, it was just out of the reach of 99.9% of the people. And so when I first got here, you know, at the ripe age of 19, I remember like if I was walking down the street or on the bus or whatever, and a Ford Explorer drove by, like my neck was cranked all the way around, like, oh my gosh, there goes a Ford Explorer. You know what I mean? Like, there's a guy winning in life. Like, he has or she has a Ford Explorer.
Dude, I'm never gonna look at one day the same anymore.
I told you, it's so funny.
Months
Oh
for
man.
like get out of my system. Like, wait a minute.
Wait, huh?
That many wealthy people just everywhere. Grocery store, you name it.
Man, there's fucking millionaires everywhere.
Everywhere. Everyone. Like, this country's just full of millionaires. You know, so they got two-door Ford Explorers, there's four-door Ford Explorers. And
That's so
nuts,
funny, bro.
Nuts.
Oh gosh.
Absolutely nuts. So yeah, that's
It's
my Ford
kind of-
Explorer. You're a millionaire. If you met me fresh, like, and you're the Ford Explorer, you know.
Dang.
You're gonna take any and all advice you can get from a guy that drives a Ford Explorer.
Absolutely.
That is so funny.
Always-
This thing was in Jurassic Park. Are you kidding me? Oh my god. No power strokes there.
Dude, it's kind of weird if you go, you know, outside of the US, and I'm not even talking like, you know, North America. I'm talking like you go to Europe and you see a American car there. They just stick out like sore thumbs. Because
wow.
You know, for those that don't know, my girlfriend is, you know, for all intents and purposes, German. She's from Germany, and we went over there for Christmas, you know, a few years ago, and I just saw this old clapped out Super Duty. And it's like Gordon said, people were snapping their damn necks to look at this thing when it drove by, and it just looked so wildly out of place because the roads are so much smaller, the cars are smaller, and it looked like a damn tank driving down the road.
You just nailed it. And that's basically it. Like, so the biggest trucks back home. So if you're like truck guy, like this round table is right now, and you said I have a truck, you're talking about Ford Ranger class, you know.
Right, yeah. That's a truck.
Wow.
So if you say I have a truck and I'm pulling stuff, you know, you want the size of Ford Ranger, Dakota, you know.
It's a Ford Ranger.
Got it. So, when you come over here and you see like even just a 1500, you know, like the old Dodge 1500s, just the big, you know, the big body V8, and you see, you know, Silverado, Sierra, you know, F-150, like that's a massive vehicle, and that's not even getting to the F-250.
Yeah, and that's a little truck here, which is
exactly. It's like the starting point. It's like the launch point here, you know.
Yeah.
Things overseas are so different because they'll tow with a car.
Oh yeah, dude, you want to talk about
wow, that's something you don't see.
Pucker, and you see someone rip past you with like a 2-place horse trailer in their Passat.
Yeah.
And I'm just looking at them like they're absolutely nuts because everyone in the States is at like, we're just so overkill where we're like, yeah, I need a 450 limited $100,000 truck to pull my landscape trailer full of mulch.
What are you trying to say?
No, I'm talking about like a 4x8 little, you know, tiny little trailer.
Well, we have all these regulations. Like you're not going to get away with a Jetta and a horse trailer here. But
yeah, you could. Yeah, you could.
It's well, there's laws. Like you can't. There's too many like towing rules.
Yeah,
like,
somebody's going to say that's an animal endangerment.
There's not. There's no towing law here.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want. They're not going to let you tow that. They'll pull you over.
No, they won't.
Yeah, they will. They'll be like, yeah, you're
dude, do you remember okay, of course none of us remember, we weren't alive then, but you've ever seen that Volkswagen Beetle with the little gooseneck camper that mounted to the roof of it?
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
You could like do donuts under the thing. The trailer would stay in place. You could just do whatever you wanted with it. Dude, I've seen some goofy stuff going down the road. Cause like, think about it. Your statement of there's too many regulations, but in the US, you can pull a fifth wheel, right? Like a fifth wheel camper, like maximum length they make with your tandem or triple axle trailer with a side by side or 2 or 3 on it, and then a boat behind that. And you don't need a license for that.
Well, it depends on the state. And if you're talking about Michigan, then I think you can do recreation type of vehicles to a higher level without a restriction. Whereas anything else, they're weighing you and things like that. If you're over 26,000 pounds, you need a certain license.
True. Stuff like that. That is a newer DOT thing, but it makes me giggle that you can buy a
recreational vehicle. Yeah.
You can buy a semi, register it as a motorhome, and you can drive it without having any endorsement whatsoever.
As long as it's a recreational vehicle.
Right. But
it also speaks to something else. I think Americans, at least for those of us who've come from somewhere else and come here, there is a, you know, like that streak of independence in America is big. And it's noticeable when you come from abroad. So Americans do things themselves. They tend to, right? So like people will pull their own boat. In the examples you gave, you know, will pull their own gear. For a lot of people, you either hire out for that kind of stuff, and it's somebody specialized who does that. Do you know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, so a big thing for me, I remember coming here, was seeing how many people worked on their own vehicles.
Wow.
You know, we did not grow up with that culture of like, hey, something's wrong, pop the hood, let's get after it.
No kidding.
So everything I've learned, as far as in that respect, I've learned here. You know, if something was wrong, it sounded funny, or you know, the gas from the exhaust is a little white or whatever, it's got to go in. You know, somebody will take care of that.
So in Zimbabwe, you're from Zimbabwe, right? So what's the more common fuel, or is it diesel? Is it gas? Or
so I think it splits like the rest of the world typically. So gas is consumer, right? So your car, passenger cars, passenger vehicles. Diesel is the fuel for business. So deliveries, hauling goods, you know, delivering goods, you know, moving things that are sort of the backbone of the economy. Done in diesel, so your buses, etc. When you get to your passenger vehicles, you know, now you're in gas. So we had a split of gas and diesel. Gas typically passenger, you know, personal. Diesel was more commercial.
Okay.
Do you think? Go ahead.
Sorry.
Matt. No.
Was it? Were like passenger vehicles offered in diesel, or was it just a strictly commercial? You know, more transit type thing.
So they were offered in diesel, and mostly because I don't know if you guys remember, but there was a big European / mainly Germany, I think, behind it to offer vehicles in diesel.
Yeah.
You guys brought up the idea of the Passat earlier and Golfs and so on. Mercedes had a lot of diesel vehicles. They had whatever model they had that offered in a diesel. BMW does the same thing too. Not common in America, but a lot of their vehicles, 3 Series, 4 Series, you name it, is a diesel variant. So those companies offered diesel vehicles, and there were a few of them, but 90% gasoline.
Okay. No, I was curious more than anything because, in most of, I want to say, Western Europe, we'll leave, the UK out of it. Everything was diesel. It didn't matter what it was, like diesel Passat, diesel Mercedes, diesel this, diesel that. It was rare to see someone at a gasoline pump.
Yeah.
Which was an eye opener for me, but
the gas mileage, so a lot of people, they were trying to push diesel. That was the first time I think companies were tackling the whole idea of gas mileage. It was like, well, switch over to diesel. And, it didn't quite take off in the US. The US, has always been behind gasoline, but a lot of the rest of the world, there's a big push behind diesel motors for a long time.
I don't know how the infrastructure is over there, but now if you were to talk, back with some friends and family currently, do you think they're starting to see electric vehicles over there or not yet?
Not yet. So things like that would have to play out in markets where people can afford them. And like you said, infrastructure-wise, electric, even here, the adoption was affected by the fact that where can I go to charge up? Where can I go to get serviced? Where,
right.
In fact, what route can I drive? Because, if there's no charging station that way, I can't drive that way. So, and, if it's just getting off the ground here, we're worlds away, in the rest of the world. So it's still a diesel and gasoline economy everywhere else. I think once it's mature here in the US, it'll get exported out, but typically, and same thing happens in, not to go off topic, but like in medicine, right? Those things are born out here in markets that can afford it and will pay for it. So if I'm producing drugs, this country, this healthcare system will pay for my R&D, or will pay me back for my R&D. So once I know that the drug is viable or my machinery is viable and I've been paid back, then you go generic, then the rest of the world gets it, and they pay a price that's different from the American market, because the American market is what typically pays back investment in R&D and innovation. So,
wow, what it would be like to view us from a different side of the fence.
Gordon, I wish more people understood your point of view.
Well, it's, I guess, when you've lived it, it's different. You know what I mean? I think that
True that.
people here who don't get to live certain, their lives just don't track the same way, right? But they can still have an appreciation for what happens beyond their borders is impressive. Because you haven't had to live it, but you still have an appreciation for things beyond what you've seen, touched, whatever. For those of us who've literally been transplanted, worlds away from what we know, it's crystal clear. I lived a certain way, I got picked up, and overnight, I leapt forward 20 years in technology.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
For real.
If there is one thing, if there's one thing I could encourage anyone listening to this, mostly Americans, because we're not really good at getting out of our, comfort zone as far as traveling. And when I say comfort zone, I'm saying like the US and North America. Go travel somewhere and just experience the world for what it is, because it will truly open your eyes to there's a lot more to the world than just, these 50 states that we live in. And
it's funny you say that, because that's when people always ask me stuff like that, like, what would you say? And I say travel, just travel. You don't have to do much, just immerse yourself somewhere else, and you'll gain an appreciation for so many little things, things that you think, we're not on your radar, but all of a sudden
it's stupid things too. Like freaking wall outlets. You just appreciate silly little things so much more. And like you appreciate you're like, oh man, this Ford Explorer is kind of small and crammed. No, go sit in the back of an Opel. You're not going anywhere.
But
you're
I tell you what, if I went overseas or let's say, you're gone for 2 weeks, if I didn't see a Super Duty for 2 weeks, I think I'd be sad.
No, you wouldn't, dude, because your nails, the undersides of your nails would be so clean.
Gloves every day, baby.
That's the other thing is
every day.
American vacation period is so foreign to the rest of the world. Like, you tell me to take more than a week off of work, I'm kind of like, dude, I don't know if I can do that. And
right.
Oh yeah, I went on vacation for 6 weeks, 3 months, and I'm like, what? Right. Oh, my work paid for it, dude. Come on.
Oh.
I don't get that kind of vacation time.
No,
not at the plant.
No.
That's kind of the culture that we've been, just
speaking of the plant,
accustomed to. But
speaking of the plant, what's with this semiconductor shortage?
Well,
WTF?
That's
really
actually
screwing
from
up the module game.
That's actually from the shutdowns. Everything gets shut down. The plants, the big three, even more than the big three. All the automotive companies aren't running. They stopped buying the conductors, and all the electronics companies start buying them. And well, now their contracts aren't the same. The companies that make the conductors are like, well, why should we sell at this price when we could sell to, they're making video games, laptops, whatever, things that people consume inside the home. And there's a huge increase in that. Why should we sell it to the automotive industry still? So there's this huge thing back and forth. They're trying to get the parts that they were getting before, and they're not getting it for what they were getting it for before.
Wow.
And it's causing them shutdowns everywhere, causing plants to shut down everywhere. Saw an article, Ford saying we're thinking about making them here. Or I don't know what the solution would be. It's a very complicated issue.
I sure hope they get it figured out, because, well, I mean, nobody knows. You can't get parts. You can't do. It's just such a cluster mess. I'm so tired of dealing with this kind of stuff.
I'm in the one plant that's not shutting down. I'm like, ready. Let's just shut it down for a month.
I'm surprised it hasn't.
I'm cool with it. Well, actually, you know what? The other F-150 plant, I think, is shut down. There's 2 plants, and I think one might be shut down. I'm not sure.
Yeah, this part, I feel bad for, like, dude, it's even like basic parts we would normally have in stock. It's like we can't get exhaust manifold studs for a V10 right now.
I know.
We have literally bought out almost every dealership in Michigan so we can get these school buses done.
Wow, for real?
We probably bought some from you guys. Like,
wow.
I was surprised I was able to get turbo pedestal bolts from a local dealer. I mean, obviously we had to pay an astronomical price to get them, but it's like we couldn't even get them from Ford.
I just got a 6079 kit that we had to pick up from another dealer. Got it. The box it comes in. Oh. This end was ripped off.
Oh no.
Got 1 exhaust manifold gasket, 4 injector lines, half of the seals for the injectors.
You know why? You know exactly why.
Dude,
too.
What happened? The thing's on back order. Oh my god.
We're robbing parts.
I don't know. It's really frustrating because you're paid when the job is done. I'm flat rate. I'm commission. I get paid per job. So you get into an instance where you get this truck torn down. It's in a gazillion pieces. It's on your hoist. I can't pull another vehicle in. I can't pull a vehicle in to my hoist. I have a bomb has went off, and it is hard enough to deal with that situation, and then to deal with parts, then to get the wrong part or stuff's missing is, man, it's so frustrating sometimes.
Well, if you guys are having a shortage and
Man.
they're having a shortage at the plant level, it's like, man, how are you going to have no parts for your existing vehicles
Oh, my
and you
goodness.
have no parts to build the vehicles? It's kind of a,
Well, I mean, they have to supply everything to build the vehicles first, more than anything.
I
But
want to say thank you to all of my customers, all of my people who have reached out and have gotten service. Thank you for being patient. It's
yeah, I'd
our
say the same.
hands are tied, man.
Thank you for being so understanding
really.
and patient, which makes me want to ask this question. All right, Gordon, as a consumer, and I guess we could say Sean and Ryan, if your truck's down for like 3 months,
Oof.
and I'm going to say, given the circumstances we're in now, what are you feeling knowing that you're totally like, you're helpless because basically no one would be able to get your truck back on the road.
Been there, done that.
That's it.
I hate.
You said it, helpless. It's
Bad feeling.
even tough to even imagine. But I think like a lot of people throughout this last year and a bit, people get resourceful. And if I'm pushed out, I've had to push customers out as well. And like you said, people have been really understanding. It's amazing, that as you feel the squeeze on your end and you're honest with your customers and you sort of communicate your position.
Most definitely.
Like this is where I'm at and this is why I can't give you
communication, man.
What you expect, but when I have everything together, obviously I'll be out. So people are understanding. I think being that we've all gone through it together, it's not sort of like localized in just, the auto industry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not a problem just being experienced in one sector. It's we're all going through it.
Yeah.
It's, that's it. It's communication, letting people know right away.
As much as this whole COVID thing has really sucked and it has affected people's lives, for the good, the bad, and we've lost loved ones and whatnot. The one thing, like, I mean, we really are not going to stop using is our trucks. Like, the world of commerce is not going to stop. We still have to get goods from point A to point B. Those vaccines, I'm most definitely sure they're being driven by a vehicle that's powered by diesel. Could be a Powerstroke. I don't know.
I can't confirm that because there are vehicles that we maintain that are transporting it.
That's what's up. These Powerstrokes, I'm telling you, I don't know.
We got a lot of customers that are in the healthcare industry, so that's kind of gives me a little, I feel good about it.
I love talking about them.
The days that I feel like screaming and quitting, I'm like, you know what, Matt, you're helping the world go around just a little bit.
Yeah. That's what we're all doing. We're just trying to bring, not bad things to light. We're trying to bring positive, things for these trucks, for all of us to take advantage of. And, if we have issues, we bounce ideas off each other. We're all collectively one brain, trying to help solve problems. And, we get into situations like, DS where he had, his wrench light or check engine light had came on his 450. And it's like, what do you do? How do you handle this? You got this guy who's a owner operator of this dude's company, his one main money maker truck. What kind of repair plan do you set this dude up with? Is this gonna be detrimental to his business? Look at all that equipment. Look at that equipment in the background. That just doesn't move itself.
That wrench light came on, and honestly, I wasn't even phased. It's like, oh, the wrench light. Okay.
Child's play.
Keep going. Keep going. It's not making any noise. It's not doing anything. Oh, it's shifting hard. Okay, keep going. And a lot of people get all like worried about it or whatever. Like, oh, 10 speed, all that. It's a machine. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna it's not breaking my heart that the machines, and then sure enough, it goes away. There's something happening down the road from now. I mean, they're gonna send out another program or whatever. It's gonna be all right.
Reprogram.
If it breaks down on the property, pull it over, and I got another truck, got a backup truck, and that's how it goes. For me, I got to have a backup truck. The reason I got the 450. I know it's excessive for me, but it's another truck that has a plow on it, and it's not over leveraged to the point where like both of the trucks have to break down. And then if they both break down, which is not going to happen, I mean, yeah, we got a wrench, but
never say never. Never say never.
The truck kept going. But if they both break down, then what we do is we help other people when we can. When my two trucks are available, and if they can help everybody, we'll go around and the people in the area, make sure everybody's all right. And do you need a truck? Do you need to borrow a truck? Do you need an operator and a plow or whatever? And if you do, I'll be there, because one day I might need one if both trucks break down or whatever. And hopefully somebody can help me. Yeah, I'll maybe open up properties later or whatever. But I guess at the end of the day, it's all about not getting over leveraged, not having too much. You got one truck going and it's maxed out and you barely can open everything. Well, you're in a position where one accident and the truck doesn't even need to break down. Somebody could hit you, or so you run into something or whatever. And
or it's in for repairs.
Yeah. And that comes down to every level of what you're doing. You don't have one guy that helps you, because if he can't come in, then that one person there's going to always be a situation where he doesn't come in. So there's always got to be at least 3 people to help you. So at the end of the day, there's always at least one person showing up, worst case scenario. So right. Just having contingencies and backup plans, and typically you'll be all right.
Yeah, that's got to be kind of tough. I don't know what it's like to have, a company where I have to worry about, my employees or the stuff that, you and Ryan have to worry about. But like, man, that's got to be.
Speaking of that, Aaron, have you ever, especially within like the past year now, in part shortages and everything, have you had the thought of like, and I'm looking at you when I say this, please just let me make an exception, considering the circumstances, to just get this person's vehicle back on the road, no matter what it takes?
Are you talking grade 8 Home Depot studs or what, to get the exhaust manifolds going, or what are you talking?
No, I'm talking like if it's something that I think I could deem is like menial and they consider it a one-time use part, but like, let's say a lower oil pan on a 6.7, right?
Okay.
Like you can hammer that girl flat.
I agree.
Just let me reuse it. I can't put this person's truck out indefinitely. Like they need it.
I agree.
So please, Ford, if you're hearing this,
there's nothing wrong with that.
Make exceptions to things, but I know why they don't, because then it just snowballs.
Well, then they're going to have to assume that everybody is going to be able to pound this flat, and
there's just so many things where it's like
you got to assume that nobody knows what they're doing.
Yeah, that's kind of the unfortunate thing.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I think that's why a lot of people will buy a vehicle out of warranty. Just because. Yeah, I mean, there's a tough one. Because you can get a vehicle out of warranty and you can take it anywhere. Whereas if you go warranty, then you have to go to the dealer. And
I mean, you don't have to.
You don't have to, but if you want your warranty.
Because like, example, the steering oscillation, because we're not legally allowed to call it the death wobble, right? We get a lot of trucks that come in with dual steering dampeners or aftermarket steering dampeners.
Mm-hmm.
And, whether they want to keep it or not, I can't really warranty your aftermarket steering dampener, but
it'll still be death wobble even with the dampener.
That's so. If we wanted to get into chassis dynamics and engineering, a solid front axle with a 3-link system So we're going to say 3-link as in being, you have your leading arms or radius arms, and then your third link. So we'll say those are 2 links, right? Your third link is the track bar, and your track bar more than anything centers the frame to the axle, right?
Yep.
Those inherently are going to have oscillations just due to steering angles and harmonics and not having enough points of contact, right? So steering dampeners are just band-aids more than anything. All, companies are doing is making the dampeners have more rebound stiffness or this, that, or the other. It's been something that every manufacturer has tried to combat, and why every single manufacturer that makes a half-ton truck has gone to independent front suspension, because you don't have to deal with it.
So my thing is, like, I've had Super Duties for so long now. Since 2014, I've had a Super Duty. I've never once, I don't think I've ever had death wobble. I think I felt something with my 450 one time. I felt it kind of like do that once, and then it's never done it again. So
I think I had that in Ryan's truck in Black Betty. After I finished the cab, I took it for a ride, and I don't think you put that. I think you didn't put something on or something, and you're like, "Oh, don't go far because I didn't put something on," and it was just. I was going right underneath the viaduct, and it was just. Oh man, it was horrible.
I feel bad. It's not fun, especially if you've never experienced it before. And it's just, the only thing you do is come to a complete stop. Like, it literally shakes the steering wheel straight out of your hands, and you think you're going to die.
I've seen some funny TikToks.
Oh no, dude! I was on a drive once, and I may have been talking to Aaron because I was very bored on this hour-long test drive, and all of a sudden this truck was like, "Hey, pothole, guess what? Death wobble."
Was this a new truck?
This was a 2019. Was not a fun time.
Yeah, it's scary.
Once a death wobble starts, once you have an issue with that, how difficult is it to chase down?
It's pretty easy. Aaron, if you want to chime in on this, usually, so as I was saying with, having what I would say, I'm not an engineer or a chassis engineer or anything. I would call it a 3-link in the front.
Right.
So on your track bar, which keeps the vehicle tracking straight, right? That comes down from the frame down to the axle. So we'll say up here is the frame, down here is the axle.
Right.
You're going to have a solid point with a bushing and a bolt. And then down on the axle, you're going to have a ball joint. Well, if either of those get play in them and it starts to shift, and usually when things shift, it's harmonically. So it's going to shift at a certain frequency.
Right.
Once it starts going, it doesn't want to stop. Mm-hmm. So your axle is literally sitting there,
just vibrating,
just going like hell. And your body's like, all right, we're not going to stop.
So this is a track bar issue mostly, or is it?
It's not so you could say it
can be a few things.
It can be a component issue, but it's also flawed by its design. It's just the solid front axle is flawed by design.
You get a death wobble situation. So I guess the first thing you would do is check for any play in any component.
Mm-hmm.
Any steering component, you're going to look for play in. Usually what we find it in, and this is my shop, it's not my shop, the shop I work in.
You'll own that shop one day, don't worry.
Dude, I'm not a billionaire.
Messing with you. Go ahead.
9 times out of 10. Okay, I shouldn't even say 9 times out of 10. 10 times out of 10, your track bar ball joint has too much horizontal play in it, right? So it's this way. So the thing just sits there and starts to oscillate until the point that you're just sitting there going like this with the steering wheel and you can't control it. So you have to hit the brakes, pull over, go drive again until it doesn't do it again, right?
So in most cases, it's that simple. Is
It's
like
bad.
It's
a track bar?
usually you can most of the time pinpoint it down to the track bar.
So it could be like a batch of bad. Is it like a batch of bad ones? Because they're new vehicles with it.
Yes.
I've never had.
I wonder if people are having it
with.
with the 2020.
If you look at the 2020s, look at the steering dampener and look at who makes it.
Really?
Who makes it?
It's a Hitachi dampener, and Hitachi is the dampeners that we've been replacing the old ones with.
Really?
Have you noticed how stiff those things are?
I'll have to check it out.
Like, have you done the steering dampener recall?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Compare that to a factory one. That thing is like a mother to compress to get the bolt back in.
I've only done one.
Really?
I'll have to pay attention to it.
Well, it still turns. You know what? It still turns good. It's not hurting nothing. It's not like
it's not going to hurt anything. It's just they did different valving inside of that.
So let me ask you this: if you for like this death wobble track bar, I know when you're checking the front end on a heavy duty truck, because of how heavy the truck is and things like that, it can be a little difficult to check for play if you don't know what you're doing. Like, so it's going to be a little hard to see.
This could be a really good content idea. Between
where do you see the play? How do you check it?
So the best way to check your solid front axle vehicle, let's say you want to check axial play or not axial, horizontal play, right? So you want to check side to side movement.
Maybe you should quiz me though. Well, I don't know about the track bar, but I can maybe check.
So if you want to check your track bar, all you're going to do, you're going to need someone with you. And what you want to do is you're going to have one person lay on the ground. They're just going to, however they need to be able to see the components, right? They're going to have someone grab the steering wheel and just kind of shake it kind of slow. And if you can see it, then I'm going to say you really have a problem.
So tires on the ground.
Tires on the ground. You're just going to park the vehicle, steering wheel straight, wheels straight ahead.
Engine off.
And you're going to have a assistant, we'll call them, just kind of sit there and just, shake the wheel side to side, left and right. And then whoever's going to look at it, your track bar is going to be going from the driver's side up by the steering gear, specifically the pitman arm. And then it's going to basically follow that geometry all the way down to the axle.
So you're going to get a light and you're going to zero in on both of those contact points where it goes to the frame and you're going to look right at it.
If you see that the bushing on the track bar, and this is going to be on the driver's side, if you see that bushing has a good amount of play into it, you can either replace the entire track bar or you can replace the bushing. If I am a do-it-yourselfer or a shop that doesn't have a press, replace the track bar. It's way too easy.
So is this a ball joint press? You can't. This is not a ball joint press. This is a big hydraulic press. Or
no, you can use it. You can use a ball joint press for it.
So if you've done ball joints, you could probably press it. If you've never done ball joints,
you can even use the old drill trick. And if people don't know what the drill trick is, if you want to remove a bushing, you stick a drill bit in between the bushing and whatever it is the bushing is pressed into, and you hit that girl as hard as you can until the drill bit spins around the bore, and it'll walk that bushing straight out.
Never heard of it.
I'm not wrapping my head around that right now, but
we can post
we got to do.
We got to do.
You've got to do a TikTok on that.
We got to do a TikTok.
I will. I'll do a TikTok on it. You guys can follow me on TikTok at Matt_Roden. Anyway,
that seems like
what I was getting to.
That seems like an easy enough thing that needs to be explained more in depth so people just stop freaking out.
Yeah. So okay, let's say you looked up at the driver's side, you see your bushing's fine. Now you want to direct your attention to the track bar ball joint. And if it is popping, I don't know how to tell people the spec, because I want to say the spec is about 8 thousandths. If you see it going up and down more than 8 thousandths or side to side more than 8 thousandths. So if like that track bar ball joint,
any movement, right?
8 thousandths in steering terms is a lot.
Oh, okay.
because
if you have anything loose and it's visually moving,
if you can visually see like your track bar ball joint shouldn't really move, because that would mean your body
junk it.
That means your frame is moving over the axle, right? And that's what causes the oscillation. So if you see your track bar ball joint not moving, like this is probably what it would look like if it was bad.
Real good.
You'd be able to tell. Like you'll look at it and be like, oh, that's kind of bad. The other thing you might want to look for death wobble, and these are just things I look for. This isn't a Ford thing, or if we have any Jeep listeners or Ram listeners, because those guys still use solid front axles. You might see your drag link end wiggling, or you might see your passenger side tie rod wiggling. Those three things, because your drag link end, your drag link comes from, it goes through your steering, goes through the steering wheel, goes into the steering gearbox, down through the pitman arm, into your drag link. And then your drag link goes into your tie rod for the passenger side. So if you see any movement on your passenger side, she ain't doing so good.
Dang, Napoleon and Deb and Matt were over there playing with happy hands.
So that's the basis of
Cat's cradle.
Now you guys know how Mr. Matt, the meat man over here, diagnoses front ends.
What else you don't know about Mr. Matt, meat man? You guys are gonna have to check out his social media and Ryan's. These two right here, we're gonna have a meat off. We're gonna have a meat cook off. We just had a real good barbecue from Reelan past weekend, and man, some brisket, some pork butt. We had some beef ribs and some forgotten beans. But they were still good. How many of you Powerstroke lovers out there are waiting to get this weather rolling, get this COVID out of here?
That's going to stick around for a while.
And get outside. Get outside. I'm so tired of being cooped up.
Dude,
I don't know who's gonna be better.
Do what?
What? Who's
gonna be better at this meat cook-off? I mean, I had the ribs; they were good. I see Matt slicing meat on Insta.
I'm not throwing shade to pellet smokers, because that's basically what I started out on. You get some
pellets,
just oak splits, some cherry splits, and some charcoal. Just a live fire. It's not the same, man.
It's beautiful.
It's not the same.
Hey Rod, do you have an opinion? Have you had both guys' cooking?
No, I have not. I've only had my man Ryan's.
Okay.
If you guys are available, either the weekend, I think the 20th or the 27th.
You gotta bring all the gear here, bro.
No, Aaron, I will. You guys are invited over to my place for our St. Patty's Day.
St. Patty's Day.
I'll be in Texas,
going to be
man.
doing.
He going to Texarkana.
Yeah, Ryan's like, you know what? Screw you. I'm going to Franklin Barbecue. I'm waiting in that line. I'm getting the good Q.
Oof.
He's on my list.
He's going down to see Miss Cammy Cakes. He gone fishing. But he's not driving a Powerstroke down there though. So
I remember the first response I ever got from Ryan. It was just some catty comment, and I'm like, dude, you know what? Reel in with Ryan.
Child's play.
I hope you catch nothing but grass bass and drag bottom.
Oh, that's right. That was like the first podcast where your camera lens looked like it had mayonnaise on it.
Yeah, you were wondering if I like smeared my willy all over my camera, and I was just not having it.
Why does this guy got mayonnaise smeared all over his camera? That's awesome.
The other comment was from little A-Rod. He was.
Yeah. Maybe I think he was the mayonnaise one.
Matt, you know what? You know what? For this last part, I'm going to respond to comments.
So hey, we can get on the barbecue thing though. I am not just pellet. I have a drum.
Oh,
I have a
What kind
Kama-
of what? You have a Kamado.
I got
I
a
have a
100 round
Kamado, and I
drum in my
have
chopper.
a drum. I have a drum that I built.
Oh, you
Ugly-
built a drum.
Yes, ugly drum.
Yeah, I'm running the Webby's. Jeez, dude, I really gotta not knock
I don't
back
know.
the backwoods
Man,
when I'm on here.
hungry
Matt,
now.
Matt, I'm
Dude,
sure
these
you
can't.
dogs are 11%.
Matt, I know
in
you
this
can
time
grill.
frame.
Matt, I know you can grill, but Ryan is not the kind of guy that does anything halfway.
Oh,
Look
I
at
don't
look at
either.
his setup. I bet I'm gonna put my money on Ryan.
Okay, so
Ooh.
what you're saying is when there is an open house, whenever that is, there will be a cook-off between me and Ryan.
There will be a cook-off.
What
Yeah.
are we doing? What are we doing? Are we doing pork butts? Are we doing briskets? What are we doing?
Pork
I
butts
think
too.
we
Pork
gotta
butts too
put we
easy.
gotta put ribs in there
Okay.
at least just for
I mean,
fun.
dude, I saw your ribs and I might have it there.
Ribs and brisket.
It appears,
Ooh, you
Matt,
wanna go
that
for a
we have the
long cook.
majority of everybody on this side. So I think it's
I
almost
think that's what
you're
I'm
gonna
saying.
you're gonna have to come out here. Gordon's out. Gordon ain't gonna
Dude,
want to
you're
drive
not
out
gonna-
have
You know how
some
much
barbecue.
fuel?
You're gonna
You
have
know
to
how much
drag
fuel
that
it's
char
gonna
broiler
cost?
over to this side of the state.
You know how
Char
much fuel
broiler.
is gonna cost for us to drive all our
Hey,
celebrities over there?
hey,
Dude, I didn't
come-
know. I was saying open house is in the PTT.
Come out
open
here and
house.
take part in my oil change special. I'll give you a special deal on it. Drive out here, I'll change your oil.
Dude, the thing is, I don't even know if I can change my own oil for that price.
I'll hook you up, man.
It's
And we'll-
like
and we'll barbecue. It'll
some
be fun.
dealerships. I mean, like an oil change is the loss leader, right? Like
I know
their quick
John
service
Ball.
is their
John
loss leader.
Ball
for them.
wants to get on a barbecue and a meetup. I know. He told me.
Who's
about
John
it.
Ball?
John Ball. He was Johnny Law.
Because we have a John Ball Zoo by where I am.
No, not John Ball. The guy we had on.
Is this turning into a meetup where you get like ribs for subscribers and then
Oh, I don't
Like-
know.
Well, we were
Well,
talking about that
Yeah.
on Saturday. We're gonna start a food truck.
Guest experience for me as a guest, like I'm getting fed. You know, like I just showed up and
No,
already.
we're doing a
getting-
cookout meetup one day.
John Ball,
We're-
podcast number 9.
We're already talking about we're gonna start a food truck, barbecue truck, but we're gonna have TVs on the outside that plays Aaron's videos while we serve up the barbecue. That's
Dude.
the goal.
In the name of one of the comments, what a snooze fest.
What?
next comment.
I
That
know,
guy.
right?
You know,
Hey,
Hold on.
Snooze fest.
What do we got here?
go
What do we
back
got
over
here?
to Ryan's tour.
I'll have to agree with Matt. There is no point in running synthetic oil. 10W30 is king. All right. thank you.
I think the guy with like 1 million miles would disagree. All right, next question.
Can we talk about 3-liter baby Powerstroke? We can talk about the 3-liter.
Mm-mm.
Oh, we're gonna talk, dude. We got one. I got one in right now.
Do you? I'm terribly sorry.
EGR cooler.
Recall?
Kick butt show, guys. You did touch on something about how techs like to rake owners over the coals with repairs. You guys have respect and empathy as owners, and that's something that isn't taught in school. Kudos to you guys.
Who was
Dude, of
that?
course.
remember that.
I
Oh, but
Trucks-
I wouldn't blame Tex. Like it's not Tex. Is it Tex's fault?
dude,
Or
there are some greedy people out there, but there also are we get put in a very precarious situation of it can literally be anything of, you know, you got an advisor that's like, hey, I need you to get, they're calling, you need to get this thing done. And then you look at the date and you're like, you only want it done then because it's the end of the month and that's when your bonus is.
Oh, really? Hmm.
Yeah.
That I'm gonna say this. I think the whole system of advisor and technician should get maybe changed. Like maybe I'm wrong,
It
but
helps when I'm the advisor and the technician.
Dude,
Yeah.
I would love if I could be the advisor, the parts grabber, and the technician.
well, here's a
Oh my
part. One
goodness.
part of the issue that I think is a lot of times the advisor isn't a tech or has never been a tech. That I think maybe that's the problem. I think an advisor should be at such a high level position that you've been a tech for so long, and then you graduate to be the advisor because you're such a good tech. Or what if you were a tech part-time part of the week and then I don't know. But I know so many advisors, they're not even like savvy. No offense, but I never really met a savvy advisor that knows.
Our commercial truck guys, and they've approached me and they're like, hey, we've got a guy retiring. Have you ever thought about doing, sales or anything? And I was like, yes and no, because I'm too much of an honest person. And I couldn't be an advisor either, because like, if I don't believe in something, I can't. Like, if it's a bad product, I just can't do it.
Yeah, like using TA 357.
Right. Like, Ford, get your shit together. Sorry, don't mean the language, but like, so your silicone sucks for that application.
How many like technicians will one advisor work with? Is it like one-on-one, or is it like one advisor to like 3 techs?
In our store, we've scaled down since COVID. I think we have, including us, we have like damn near 30 techs right now. And then that's split across 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they do it as like a team-based thing. So like each advisor will have 5 techs. So you'll have like 3 different trans techs, but they're all on separate teams, right? So that's kind of to keep the workflow even and everything, and this, that, and the other. But
freaking right.
Yeah, some people that are good at sales are just good at sales. I mean, they can sell a product.
What are you selling? If you're an advisor, are you selling anything, or you're just kind of the transaction?
You're selling the job.
Yeah, you're selling the job.
You got to convey that to the customer in a way that they're going to feel comfortable spending this $20,000, and you're not going to be, oh, the technician's going to be. That's not going to convey to me that I'm going to be, dang, I'm about to just drop 20 grand.
Yeah, because
this guy couldn't even tell me what they were going to do.
Sometimes being very vague and very whatever is better.
When I worked on cars, I never thought of it as selling, like the repair. I've always thought about, this is what you need. If you want it, this is my recommendation. If you want it, let's do it. If not, you might be broke down. But I never worked on, like, it wasn't
Gordon. Who would you rather deal with? Would you rather deal with the tech, or would you rather have a middleman?
A lot of times I think, when someone feels like a sales guy, because of, I guess, the stereotype, it almost feels like, someone's trying to put one over you. You know what I mean?
It just feels kind of gimmicky.
Yeah. I feel like automotive doesn't need a sales guy in the middle of it.
Well, I mean, they do a lot more than just, contacting the customer, but
they got a lot of paperwork, I'd imagine.
Oh yeah.
Like the technician, we have to be an investigator. Like that advisor's not going to be an investigator and ask all these additional questions.
I'm not going to be like I love the 2 advisors that I work with. They're great, right? But I just wish I could get so much more info from the customers. Like, how about instead of them texting you, they text me, right? Like, I'm like, at what speed does it do this, right? And then I have to wait 2 days for the customer to get back to me.
Right. Yeah, that can be frustrating. Whatever we got to do to make our jobs go smoother and try to get the trucks back on the road, whether it be for maintenance or repairs that it came in for.
I mean, there's 2 things for me for it to be a successful repair. If I don't hit on either of them, I'm very sad with myself. Obviously, number 1 is verifying the customer's concern and fixing the concern or repairing the concern. Number 2 is making it seem like I was never in there.
Yeah, for sure.
That is like, if the customer looks at, I almost
nobody was ever here.
I almost feel happy when a customer calls all angry and they're like, the truck's in the same spot. We looked at it. Doesn't even look like you worked on it. That's how I know I did my job well.
You know what though? Like working in landscape, I've done a lot of jobs and I can tell you some stuff I don't like, but some stuff I really like and enjoy. One of those things that I like doing is just ripping out bushes, because when you do
that's a fun one to do.
Yeah, but the reason I like ripping them out is because you sell this job. It's an easy thing to sell, and when you do it, the customer is just so happy. They're like, "Let me get you some water. Come inside my house. Sit down at my table. Don't worry. Don't take off your boots." People are just so. When you're cutting somebody's lawn, when you're cutting their lawn, they're like, "Oh, he's here again. He's billing me this money." It's like this constant repetitive. You're charging money. It's not exciting when you're cutting their lawn. Sometimes it is, but mostly no. A lot of times you're a nuisance service that they got to have. But when you just rip out somebody's bushes, they're just like, you did something that really intimidated me, and I'm just ecstatic. But having that interaction with the customer, just solving that issue super quick.
Hell yeah.
I've noticed that people are just so happy that you did that. And that's how it was when I was working on cars. Like they'd be so happy that you were able to solve this problem. And then just putting like, obviously there's pros and cons to having an advisor, but you're removing the satisfaction of a technician by putting someone else in there. You're not interacting with that person anymore. You're just fixing a car, and then you're not.
Dude, I'm about to have a video about why the dealership costs so much, and I think it will open some people's eyes about why. We'll see.
You think there's a lot of overhead there, huh?
Dude, there is so much overhead right there. Not only do you have to pay the technician, you have to pay the advisor, and then you have to pay the porter, and then you have to pay the service manager, and then you have to pay the overhead costs, and then any equipment costs you have, and then utilities, and then insurance. And it's like, you add that up real quick. There's not a whole lot of wiggle room.
I got a question for you guys. On the tech side, the whole advisor thing, you know, how many phone calls do you think you could field from people on my side, customers, calling you about their vehicle?
The advisor side, they
dig into a vehicle.
They can't. Our advisors are almost to the point where they can't leave their desk because their phones are constantly ringing.
And that's their point, to just buffer so you guys aren't just being bombarded by, you know.
I think right now, as of March 2nd, we are probably a month out.
Wow. Yeah.
It is. And the other thing about our shop is we haven't even advertised that we can do, you know, that we can take on 450s and 550s and 650s and 750s and anything else that has a Ford powertrain.
Right.
And it's just, it doesn't stop, which is a good feeling, but a bad feeling at the same time. Cause it's like, I would just love to do a brake job right now.
I know, right?
Or I would love to have a slow day and be able to just do some training or something, but
I'll never forget sitting at a Midas for whatever reason. I was getting something looked at, and the guy comes out. I guess you just call it the service advisor, because usually those shops don't have like one guy behind the counter that does that. And he told this guy that he needed like belts and a pulley, and it was like, I don't know, $800. And it just looked like he was about to cry. It just looks like, because it's so much money. Oh, and it's like, man, that's just.
Is it bad that I borderline don't have any sympathy for the guys that have the platinum trucks and they like cry when they get a $1,500 bill?
No, that's not. That's normal. You shouldn't have sympathy.
Like, dude, you got the truck, you can pay for it, right?
Well, I was talking to A-Rod, and we were talking about how much the next maintenance is going to cost, and I think it's going to be around like $400 for filters and
Yeah.
oil, and that's a deal. You know, that's with the deal too, right?
They're
Yeah.
not cheap. If you can, I'm just going to put this out there. If you can barely afford the truck, you cannot afford maintaining it. Just
Now,
plain and simple.
I want to ask this question. With these diesel trucks, I feel like these oil changes are coming up quicker than they did with gas. The oil life monitors never went off in a month for me before.
Yeah, but you said it's at what now?
It's at like 17% right now.
Wow.
It's like every time I start it up, it loses 1%.
I had one that I did the math on because it showed I was just looking on, PTS.
All right, guys, let's check this out.
And the mileage was probably 4,000 miles from their last oil change that I could tell. And it said the oil life monitor still had 55% left.
Wow. That video I put up tonight, 7,600 views.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know.
lot,
I
man.
guess if Ford has the trust in it.
No,
I try not to treat, the owner's manual and the, workshop manual is like the gospel. But Ford's a big company and they spend a lot of money on things. So like, part of me is like, okay, you could probably go past 5,000 miles, but I'm also a very anxious person.
Well, here's the thing.
Where
Those
I'm
miles,
like, you know what? It's not going to hurt you to change your oil early. Changing
right? But those
late,
those miles though, miles doesn't really mean
no, it doesn't.
Wear on oil. Like for me, I'm not even getting nowhere near that many miles, and I'm at like, okay, change your oil. I'm at 6,000 miles, and I've already had an oil change. Just like how that truck Aaron did a video. It has 1 million miles on it, but it had 2 brake changes. I mean, it had 2 brake jobs. So miles really don't.
Wait, that thing's got 1 million miles and it only had 2 brake jobs.
So it's getting driven on long.
That's a straight highway truck, but that's the difference, because I'm a firm believer with modern day diesels now. The harder, longer, and I guess you could say hotter you run them, the better they do. If you can keep that DPF clean, if you can keep it out of needing to have the EGR valve open, absolute better. It just, they run so much happier because they're not adding extra fuel to regen all the time. They're not injecting, exhaust gas all the time, this, that, the other, but the less you can short trip those trucks, the better.
Yeah.
Change. I'm just texting somebody. We need to change that intelligent oil life monitor. We don't need to be going by that thing.
Wait, what? I'm going off of what are you talking about?
I think as a general rule of thumb, most people don't follow it. And
no,
that goes to like
the
main side, like mainline gas side. Most people don't follow it. They just go by.
Well, in my case, I gotta almost follow it because it's, in my situation, it's going down way quicker than the sticker.
Well, you're not the average person.
True.
Right. So in my case, it's helping me change it. Well, honestly, it's not way more. It's probably
you're a pickup. I guess I'm talking about cab chassis.
He's talking about the commercial guys that are,
okay,
like some of my customers that literally idle their trucks more than they drive them.
Mine's taking idling into account. So maybe cab and chassis doesn't, but if I idle my truck, my oil life's going down. According to the monitor. According to the monitor, it is, but the miles aren't going up. So I could go off miles and be at like no more oil life because it doesn't have miles.
True. Whatever it is, we're here talking about how to take care of them We're always talking about oil. We're talking about fuel additives. We're going to talk about more of this stuff on the channel. We didn't talk about it too much tonight, but the next one, we're going to get a little deeper in the directions for some of this stuff because I need to start using this, and so do you guys. Check the promo code out, PTT, to save you guys some money. Check out us all on the mainstream podcast apps. You guys are loving it. We're getting tons of downloads each time we're putting out an episode. You guys are loving it. We're getting great feedback from you all, and we're really appreciating that. Thanks to Gordon very much, sir, for joining us for the first time. We'll have to have you back on here. DS, Matt, Reelan, everybody out there, thanks again. Let us know in the comment section, what do you guys want to hear? Do you guys want us to talk about something else? Do you want to get on? Let us know. Check my email above or below, and I will get you in queue to be on the Powerstroke podcast and talk trucks like we do every week. All right, you guys, thanks so much for watching, and we'll catch you next time.